The cast has been announced for Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, and it's not looking promising. The show's setting is the Second Age of Middle-earth, when Numenor was at its peak. You remember the Dunedain Rangers, right? Aragorn's people? These were the descendants of the Númenóreans. Here's how Gimli described the Dunedain Rangers in the book. Stout men and lordly they are, and the riders of Rohan look almost as boys beside them, for they are grim men of face, worn like weathered rocks for the most part, even as Aragorn himself, and they are silent. The Tolkien Legendarium contains the traditional idea of degeneration from a golden age. There are even 4 ages of Middle-earth, just like Hinduism. So characters from the First and Second Ages were far more powerful than characters from the Third Age, who were more powerful than humans living today. For example, Fingolfin, an elf of the First Age, took on Morgoth, who is the Satan of the Tolkien Legendarium and Sauron's master, in a one-on-one duel to the death, and more than held his own. Fingolfin passed over Dornu Faglith like a wind amid the dust, and all that beheld his onset fled in amaze, thinking that Oromi himself was come. For a great madness of rage was upon him, so that his eyes shone like the eyes of the Valar. When he saw the defeat of his people, he went super saiyan and caused armies to flee from him, and then he called out Morgoth, naming him a coward, and Morgoth was actually afraid. He wounded Morgoth with 7 wounds, and 7 times Morgoth gave a cry of anguish, whereat the hosts of Angband fell upon their faces in dismay, and the cries echoed in the Northlands. So the mightiest of the First Age elves were godlike, and the same is true of the men of the First Age. Turin Turambar was so mighty that he could slay entire armies of orcs. In the Second Age, power levels did decline, but you had badasses like Elendil, direct ancestor of Aragorn and king of the Númenóreans, who was 8 feet tall and died while killing Sauron at 322 years old. So there was a serious decline in power levels from the Second Age to the Third Age. Therefore, the Númenórean men of the Second Age should be some serious, hyper-masculine badasses. They would look something like this. With that in mind, let's look at the cast.
Fuck.
The first thing that stands out is the diversity. I really hope that they're not going to pull a Witcher and just randomly make elves and Númenóreans and hobbits diverse. I hope that these actors are playing Easterlings or Haradrim. And what's worse is the complete lack of testosterone. Where are the Númenórean men? The lead actor is Robert Aramayo.
Who?
Is this guy going to be playing a Númenórean warrior of the Second Age? He looks more like he should be playing a deputy in Mayberry. So how does The Witcher get Henry fucking Cavill as the lead, but the most expensive series of all time, with a $1 billion budget, gets this guy? But as for the rest of the cast, we have an awe-inspiring combination of soy face, pencil necks. Seriously, these guys' necks are thinner than Adam Schiff's. I measured them. Girly arms, obesity, cellulite, and effeminacy. Yes, 2 of these guys' most notable roles were as the feminine halves of gay relationships, and it was an appropriate casting decision for those roles. But what role are they going to be playing in a Lord of the Rings series? I feel as if I'd been told, hey, we're going to spend $3 billion making a Gates of Fire movie about the 300 Spartans. Here's the cast. It's not hard to see the difference between the casting of this show and previous Tolkien movies. In Lord of the Rings, we had Viggo, Sean Bean, Bernard Hill, Karl Urban. In the Hobbit movies, we had Richard Armitage, Graham McTavish, Mikhail Persbrandt, and Luke Evans. And in the Amazon series, we have who? Who can play a warrior? It's like they made an RPG where there's no option to select the warrior class for your character. Alright, maybe I'm being a little unfair. There is one guy in the cast who looks like he could play a Númenórean. Oh wait, he's the guy they chose to play the villain. So is the story going to be about a diverse group of strong women and pencil necks fighting against a Chad? What is this? Some kind of allegory for the fight against toxic masculinity? And aside from the weird cast, there's the fact that the showrunners are two guys whose first screenwriting job was Star Trek Beyond, a mediocre movie that lost $50 million at the box office. This show is going to be a $1 billion disaster.